All right, let's get to the games. We got 2 left, as I said. The early one, Chiefs at home in Arrowhead, 7-point favorite, 54.5 against the Bengals. Jacob Bruss's Chiefs. They disposed of the Bills in a classic game. I haven't given out one. Are you all right, Harry? Is that you? Okay. All right. We'll get through this. Don't worry. Got to get to the Jacob Bruss interview. I'm playing a teaser here. I don't usually give this out in this segment, this Friday thing where we pick the games. I'm playing a teaser. Kansas City -1 and under 60.5. I really, really feel strongly about the fact that the Chiefs are going to win, but I feel just as strong as that the Bengals are going to play it close. And I'm not getting a lot of leeway. I'm getting the 7. So I think this is the way to do it. I worry about the hangover effect here a little, guys. The Chiefs played Sunday. They're going to have less of a rest than Cincinnati, who advanced on Saturday. And I think they have even less of that rest. They have, after playing the greatest game that anyone's ever witnessed, they're probably just coming down from that high like yesterday, right? On Thursday. I don't think Burrow screws this up. I get it. The offensive line could not have been worse last week against the Titans, and they still survived. Gave up 9 sacks. It's a ridiculous number. Don't forget, though, I don't think it's going to happen again. The Chiefs defense didn't light it up against Josh Allen. They only had 2. Against Big Ben, they only had 3. Against the Bengals, not even a month ago, they had none. 0 when they played on January 6th, I believe. I'm going with Cincinnati to keep it close. I actually think the Chiefs could be losing early on. Bengals do their thing, get out to a fastish start as they did in the last couple games, or leading at halftime. Low scoring game. They blow it out at the end. The Chiefs do, when Mahomes does his thing with Hill and Kelsey and Pringle. Heat up. 28-22 final. Give me the Chiefs -1 and under 60.5. Harry, I don't love that you're on the Bengals, but you're buying it up. I don't know where you have this money all of a sudden. You're buying this spread up.
I'm buying it up. I'm buying the Bengals to 7.5. Look, Cincy's D has been playing fantastic. They held Derek Carr, Derrick Henry in check in both their wins, giving up just 35 points in the 2 games combined. This is a team that many people thought that was just happy to be here, but not really. That's not how Joe Burrow rolls. He's been fantastic. About 4 weeks ago, he beat Kansas City, put up 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, outplayed Mahomes in that game. They won that game. Team has tons of confidence. Kansas City in that Buffalo game, exhausted on defense. Listen, I just think that this is a situation where Kansas City's defense, which is 27th in the league, against the pass and yards against, Burrow can dice them up and throw Mixon in there too. I'm taking the Bengals to keep this close. I'm not saying they win the game, but I am going to take the 7.5.
All right, you have been on them for a while. Like I said, Bill Simmons Monday or Sunday night said, hey, Harry's been on the Bengals, and I let him go. But you did take him plus 430 to make the playoffs. You like the Browns to go to the Super Bowl. You've been going with this bombs away thing, though, Harry. It hasn't really been bombs away. What, 26 against the Raiders, 19 against the Titans? Good enough to win, I guess.
348 yards, though, against the Titans defense. Everyone claimed was really good. So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
No touchdown passes. All right. I'm with you, though. I'm with you. Bri, you're with us, too. You're buying it up.
Yeah, well, the FanDuel's offering plus 7.5 at -120. So it's really, that's a good bet there. But I can't believe I'm doing this. I felt like this is what I did last week. I was all ready for a Chiefs Rams moneyline parlay, and now, not to say I still might put a ton of money on that, but I do think I'm not going to say they necessarily start out slow, the Chiefs, but I could see the defense struggling right out of the gate. The Chiefs had that stretch where their defense played really well, but it's kind of been back to being a little bit poor recently, especially against the pass. But the Bengals are 6-0 against the spread in their last 6, 7-2 against the spread on the road this season. And those are covering those games by big margins. And they were 7-3 as an underdog. I know that's probably the same. A lot of that's the same as the road games, but all the numbers are pointing to Cincy covering. And I'm going to trust. And, I didn't get a chance to do it last week. I kind of hate them because they beat the Raiders the game before. But I want to root against the Chiefs in this one. I want to root for Burrow. I think he's going to make a bunch of plays against this team. And I do think he proved that in that last game, that second half against the Chiefs, that he's going to be able to score on them. So give me the 7.5.
All right, set us straight here, Parlay Kid. Kansas City in Arrowhead, playoffs. They do nothing but win.
You guys are overthinking it. Okay. You're overthinking it here, guys.
Maybe.
kind of lost in the shuffle. A couple things. One, the Chiefs lost Tyrann Mathieu the other day during that game. That was a huge loss.
Mm-hmm.
I expect him back. I mean, just reading the reports that things are kind of looking pretty good for him for this weekend. If he plays, that's a huge for the Chiefs. So I'm rolling the dice on that. And I'm also thinking that, Cincinnati here, Raiders, Titans, they've had a kind of a nice road to get here. I don't think you could have really written a better script for them to this point. And I think they are kind of just happy to be here. That's my thing. I think they've reached their pinnacle right now. The Chiefs are the better team. The Chiefs will pressure Burrow, put enough pressure on him to force him into a big mistake or two. This game might stay close for a bit, but eventually Mahomes will catch fire. They'll score some quick TDs, and they will pull away late. They'll cover the 7 here, Sal.
By the way, I bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I bet a ticket off of Prop Swap. You go to the Prop Swap app and you bet it. I took them plus 120. I think I got plus 125. I bought it. I didn't even take a look. I'm doing it. So I feel like I'm covered either way. I think there's good value in that Super Bowl. We gave out those picks earlier in the week. So there you go. I like the Chiefs to win. I know I'm painting myself in a corner here, but I do like the Chiefs to win this game, but the Bengals to cover. Let's go over some props here. Bengals plus 4.5 first half. Really, my Super Bowl pick is really, really tinkering here. So I do think the Chiefs do get off to a slow start. I think it's going to be similar to what they did against the Steelers. Meanwhile, Bengals led by 7 over the Raiders at half, or 3 over the Titans at half. I think I'm not going to talk about it too much. 13-10, 13-13, right around there in the first half. Bengals getting the 4.5 number is a big number. And like I said, a little bit of a hangover factor there. That's my prop. One of my props, Bengals plus 4.5 first half. You guys have player props here. Brother Bry, Mixon. I'll actually do the other one. First half Chiefs win.
Well, it's similar to what you kind of just gave out and what your whole narrative is, right? Yeah. So I do kind of like the odds of this. The Bengals winning after the first half, and then the Chiefs win the game. That's plus 650. The Bengals have come out well in the 2 playoff games so far, leading at halftime in both of them, and then they kind of faltered in both second halves where they could have lost the game in both of those games. And I think this could be like a reverse game of what we saw the last time these two teams played, when the Chiefs got up early and then the Bengals took control in the second half. And you remember this, like, I think this kind of happened right on that Chiefs playoff run, right? A few years ago, where they started off poorly early. Right. And then they just came back. They came back late second quarter into the second half and took control of those games. So again, I think the Chiefs win here, but I do think they get off to, they fall behind a little early.
What odds is it? What odds do you get for this?
Plus 650.
It's tough because there's 2 games left. But last week, the Niners did it, right? They were losing at half and won. It does seem every week if you can get plus 5, plus 650 in a slate where there's 4 or 6 games, it's good. The Bills were beating the pay. I'm trying to look back. Cowboys weren't winning at half. The Bucks were winning at half. Steelers. All right, yeah, it didn't work for you. That first week. That first week was shit. Let's just forget that wild card week ever even happened. How great the games were last week. All right, Harry, what's your prop?
Let's go Kelsey. I'm going to take a Kansas City Chief. I'm going to take Kelsey over 72.5 receiving yards at minus 122. He's averaging 102 in the playoffs so far. He's as clutch gets. Last 5 playoff games, he's had 96 or more in all 5 of them. He's fantastic. Averaging 16 yards a catch in the playoffs this year. Kelsey over 72.5. Just seems like it's automatic.
All right. Parlay Kid, you're all over Mahomes. Give us both your Mahomes props here.
Well, look, Sal, anytime I see this over touchdown prop, Mahomes at plus 116 to go over 2.5 touchdown passes against a Cincinnati secondary that's okay. I always look at the fact that Eli Apple is back there, and I always wonder how they're winning with him in their secondary, but somehow they are. But yeah, over 2.5. Sal, he's had 8 here in the last 2 games. We know that he can light it up for 3 at any point. It could be in the first half where he throws for 3 touchdowns. He occasionally gets one of those flips for a touchdown when they're on the 1 yard line, or he can go 80 yards down the field for one. So anytime I can get Mahomes touchdowns over 2.5 at a plus number, I'm going to take it, especially here in this game against Cincinnati. And my other one is Mahomes' longest pass at 30 completion at 37.5 yards. Sal, Mahomes has gone over this in 9 out of his last 10 games.
Wow, I like this.
The only time he didn't go over, he threw for a 37-yarder. So he was right there anyway. And, you know, I like this one. It's a fun one because it could happen at any time. He wasn't over this the other day until he hit Tyreek Hill streaking across the middle on the peace sign touchdown late in the game is when that went over. But it can happen at any time. It could happen on the first play of the game. It could happen on the last play of the game for the Chiefs. So it gives you something to root for too, that, you know, that could take you late into the game. So I like the over 37.5 yard longest completion for Mahomes as well.
Do they have, now without looking for longest reception for Hill, because it almost has to be Hill that gets this, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be, but.
Could be Hardman.
The Hill ones are usually like, what, 26.5?
Oh, really? Oh, man, I would say that was good too.
25.5, 26.5.
Yeah, he's usually around 26, 27.5.
Let me see if I can find it. 76, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, now they have alternate. All right, they'll put it up. They'll put it up soon, but I'm not seeing it just yet. Interesting though. I might do both of those. Mahomes over 37.5 and whatever Hill is, because I think he's going to be the guy that gets his regular yards are 76.5. All right, I have a Mahomes prop too. Sorry, Harry, he's going to have more passing yards than Joe Burrow. He had more than Allen. He had more than Big Ben. He had more than Locke the game before. I know he against Burrow bludgeoned him, but before that, he led in 2 in a row. I think he's 15-4 this year in this prop to have more passing yards than his counterpart. It's not always minus 110. A lot of times it's minus 240, minus 250. But I think they come from behind a little bit here. He's going to have to throw more than, well, maybe not more than he did against the Bills, but more than normal and more than Burrow. So I like him at minus 110 to have the most passing or more passing yards than Burrow, more than anybody on the Bengals team for that matter. What are we saying? 24.5? You're seeing this for Hill?
Hill's at 24.5 at minus 114.
All right.
For his longest reception. That's not bad, Sal, right?
That's a good one. All right, I'm writing that down. All right, Harry, you like Chase. Of course, you love Chase all over the place.
I do. He's a
You liked him
superstar.
yesterday too. Yeah.
I'm going to go over 82.5 receiving yards at minus 114. Again, he went off in that game against Kansas City. Best game as a pro. Torched the Chiefs secondary for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. Had a 72-yard touchdown in that game in the jungle. Playoff so far this season, he's leading Cincinnati in receptions and yards. He's got 225 in 2 games, over 100 in both those games. In 4 of his last 5 games, he's gone over 100. So over 82.5. Give me that all day.
All right, and Brother Bry, finish it off here.
Yeah, I like that, Harry. Yeah, I'm going to go Mixon over 29.5 receiving yards. You know, Mixon's been a big threat as a receiver, especially over like the last 4 games, I think it's been. But he's averaging 6 catches and 47 yards over those 4 games. So, the Chiefs, if they get a good pass rush, I think this, similar to last week, Burrow will probably check down to him a lot quickly like he did last week. But, the Chiefs gave up the 3rd most receiving yards to running backs this season, with I think like 50-something yards per game they gave up. So I think Mixon at over 29.5 seems like a good one.
All right, let's jump into our first touchdown picks. They've not been great. Harry actually saved us this weekend. You had 2, right? 2 of the 4?
Yes,
right,
he
the
did.
rest of us had none. I mean, we were 0 for 28 before this weekend, right? You picked the first game this weekend. What was the Bengals Titans? No,
it was the
you lost that one too, right?
Dylan with the Packers.
Right. So you got 2 of the last 3. I was talking to the Parlay Kid. We were talking. This just seems harder than it used to be. I don't know what it is. It's the same players every freaking week. They're only going against one team. It's just the same starters. And yes, we're a little gun shy, but we're still probably 65, 70 units in the plus. And you should stick with us because we're great at this overall. Just keep pounding them. But I look at a guy like T. Higgins, almost 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, basically what he had last year. He's 11-1 for the first touchdown. He's another guy who's due. I can't even say he scored in the last 4. He's gone 3 games without a touchdown reception. But I just think the value is here at 11-1. Now, Chase had 12 red zone targets. I know it's a different thing because he can catch it at his own 30 and go for a touchdown, but he had 12 red zone targets. Higgins had 11. And if you look at the touchdown, what is Chase? 750, 8-1? And you get an 11 for T. Higgins. That's what I'm going with here. I think there's value considering he's not a tight end. I usually like to go with not a running quarterback, not the best running back. Just give me T. Higgins. I don't think I sold it too well, but 11-1, first touchdown. Brother Bry, you got a longer shot than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm the same way too. I've lost confidence here in some of my picks. But yeah, I'm going to go with some big QBs today. So I'm going to look at Burrow at 41-1. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. And Burrow's the type of quarterback though, that, he'll take what the defense gives you. He's not afraid. It's funny. You would think a guy would be afraid after breaking his, or shattering his knee. And he almost shattered his knee on like a false start the other day too. He took a terrible hit, but even still, he'll run if he has to. And again, I'm not saying if you're outside the 5 or 10 yard line, he's probably not running it in. But there's always that chance on inside the 5 that you could get a touchdown here. I don't know.
Win.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the type. I don't know if they would still risk him ever sneaking it from the half yard line. Probably not after that injury, but I can still see him dropping back and running one in.
They talk about that with Mahomes last week, right? With the 3rd and what was the play? When they had the
that's
tight
when
end.
Blake Bell, right? Got the
and it was really all because of that injury 2 years ago, right? Against Denver when he did the quarterback sneak and he busted up his leg, and they're never doing that again. So now they have to try all these gadget plays on that when you really know that he would be able to get it on the quarterback sneak, right? It's very strange. All right. Another one, Harry, you have a long shot here. What are we doing here, guys? We should try
something here. It's playoffs. Let's try something different here. I'm going to take Cincinnati's defense.
How's this
special
happen?
teams at 32-1. Why not? Cincinnati's defense has forced 5 turnovers in the playoffs, 4 picks, 1 fumble, giving up to 17 points per game, 2 playoff games so far. They forced 21 turnovers in the regular season, had a pick for a fumble, for a touchdown, a fumble return for a touchdown. And for the stat of the show, in Kansas City's last 7 playoff games, the opposing team has scored the first touchdown in 6 of those 7 games. Why not Cincy? Cincy's defense, 32-1.
Has any of those been defenses? 6 of the 7?
Well, I guess the Steelers. Steelers.
Right. That's
Steelers.
right. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. All right. Parlay Kid. McKinnon.
Yes, I think you're selling us a bit short. I still think we're probably up 80 plus units here because we were in the hundreds. So
that's true.
And
then
if we lost,
Harry got half of the 28 back, right? So we lost 28 in a row. But Harry
then
basically
we lose
got
3. Yeah.
I know, but almost half it back.
All
so,
right. Oh yeah, we're 80 units.
We're probably about 80. I got to do it for us, but we're probably 80.
And I think what made Harry successful last week is he kept it simple. So I'm kind of surprised he's going this route. So I'll keep it simple here, and I'll take McKinnon at plus 750 because I think one of us has to have, a back
something
here,
reasonable.
Something reasonable. And I think, look, McKinnon's had 35 touches in these 2 playoff games so far for the Chiefs. He's a threat through the air, and he's a threat on the ground. And he didn't score last game, but he had scored the 2 previous games before that. What an addition for the Chiefs here. He's been an excellent find for them. So I'll roll with him, and I'll take my chances there, Sal. Keep it simple with this one.
All right, you take your chances. All right, NFC Championship. This is the late afternoon game. Actually, about 6:30 Eastern time. Rams are home, 3.5-point favorite. 46 is the over-under against the 49ers. Rams, 3.5, 46 over the 49ers at SoFi. My better edge goes to the San Francisco 49ers. This team has been my betting kryptonite. Parlay Kid, I had them. We bet them against the Cowboys. We bet them we bet the Cowboys against the 49ers. We went even heavier on the Packers against the 49ers. But guess what? They're also Sean McVay's kryptonite in real life. 6 in a row San Francisco is taken from LA. That is a real thing. Their defense is real. It's ridiculous. we've gotten too good. Stafford. I'm sorry. Let me get that guy. We've gotten too used to Stafford being too good. It doesn't make any sense. The truth is he's had 3 interceptions versus the 49ers this year. Bosa, Armstead, pestering monsters. D'Amico Ryans is going to have a head coaching job next year. Right now, he leads this defense and he's going to do it again. And Jimmy G will be just good enough with a lot of help from Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell to put away the Rams for a third time. Cover up. Kelly Stafford will be flinging pretzels by the dozen. I'm taking San Francisco plus 3.5. They win the game 24-20. Harry, what's your better edge?
Sal, I'm with you. I'm going to take San Fran, but I'm going to buy it up to 4. I'm going to buy it up to 4. First off, look, the Niners defense is playing off the charts. They held the third-ranked offense, Dallas's offense, to 1 passing touchdown. Green Bay, 0 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, 0 at home. You mentioned, Sal, that McVay, Darren's guy, 0-6 against San Francisco. Almost losing by almost 10 points a game over that stretch. And look, Stafford against the 49ers this year, 4 picks. I don't know. That seems like it might be too much of a thing here for Stafford. You mentioned Jimmy G. He's going to stay composed, manage the game. Kittle and Debo do their part. Mitchell and let's get a good game out of Ayuk too. He had a nice game against Dallas. He led them in receiving yards that game. San Francisco plus 4. They get it done again.
All right, Brother Bry, you like it just 3.5. Not buying it up like Harry.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but my better edge goes to the 49ers plus 3.5. Like you guys already said, Shannon has gotten the best of McVay. And, this 49ers defense, like you said, it's been amazing for most of the season, especially recently. And they've proven they don't really need to be playing too well to pull these games out. They'll slow down the run and they'll be able to put some pressure on Stafford here. So I think this comes down to a field goal. So I'm going to take the 3.5.
All right, Parlay Kid going against us here. Probably smart.
Again, my better edge goes to the Rams here at minus 3.5. Listen, my good friend Sean McVay. Of course, I trust. McVay gets over the hump here. This is what these coaches do, right? They break down the barrier. They get over the hump. This is it. This is his game versus Shannon. This means a lot. He has a lot to prove here. Not since Eli Manning has a quarterback been able to play such mediocre football like Jimmy G and win football games here.
True.
That comes to an end as Stafford, who I have maligned over the years, outplays Jimmy G. He's the better quarterback. He is ready for this moment. He gets it done. The Rams cover the 3.5.
All right. Wow. Parlay Kid is just so in love with Cooper Kupp. We're going to have a dual engagement, Harry and Angie and Parlay Kid and Cooper Kupp. Get ready. Get those rings and get the pretzels.
McVay's his best man.
Now, listen, I know Stafford's been terrific, but Harry, I think he has 3 interceptions, not 4 against the 49ers. You had 4?
I'm pretty sure it was 4.
Those 3. Well, I think he's got another one in him. To throw an interception is minus 105. He had 4 games in a row before these playoffs, before he righted the ship, where he threw an interception. 49ers ball hawking. They know how to tip passes. I think the Rams play from behind a little bit. And even if the Rams win, it's likely he throws one. He's tied for the most, and he's playing a great defense who's familiar with him. So just that alone should tell you that one of his 35 passes should land in the hands of a 49ers defender. I'm going Stafford to throw an interception, minus 105. Parlay Kid, what do you like?
Well, Sal, I'm going to my old reliable here, Sal. My first one, I'm taking a prop within the game itself that both teams to score 1+ touchdown in each half at plus 174 here, Sal. This is the largest number I've seen for this prop. Like, for example, in the KC game, it's like minus 124 or something like that. This is plus 174. I know because the 49ers are playing in this game. That's why this number is where it's at. But we're talking about, beautiful, nice conditions, obviously, here in this stadium. Perfect for high-scoring games. And so I think you had brought something up about this game traditionally is a high-scoring game.
What did we say, Brian? 13-4-1 against the spread, the NFC Championship.
12-3-1.
12-3-1.
12-3-1. Yep.
It's even better.
Is it? Was that the spread of the over?
Over.
On the over. Yeah.
On the over, right? That this game is traditionally a high scoring game. So why not here? I think this both teams are going to manage a touchdown here. Plus 174. Really good value. If I do lose it, you know what's going to happen. It'll be probably San Fran in the first half, doesn't score, something like that. But I'm willing to risk it at that value here, Sal.
All right. Now it'll be San Francisco in the second half. They'll be up 35-0, and we'll 35-7, and it won't matter. All right, Cup, Bri, I like this. I mean, I like the Tyreek Hill over longest reception.
Yeah, I mean, this is
like
it's a high number. So I'm going to go with Cup over 28.5 longest reception. You know, I love the Stafford longest pass too, but the Cup one's been fantastic. It's actually been even better. Cup went over this multiple times last week. He's gone over this number and usually way over this number in 7 of his last 8 games. Again, the thing with Cup, though, he's a guy who could beat you deep for 40. He could turn a 10-yard pass into 30. But yeah, I love this one over 28.5.
Pretty good. Pretty damn good. All right, Harry, you got some 49ers props here.
Yeah, I mean, Deebo Samuel, anytime touchdown at minus 105 in the playoffs. He scored against Dallas. He had 14 touchdowns in the regular season, scored 3 of those touchdowns in 2 games versus the Rams. And he has scored in 4 of his last 5 games against LA. So give me Deebo anytime touchdown, minus 105. And Elijah Mitchell, over 72.5 rushing yards, minus 114. Very underrated back. Averaged 75 so far through the playoffs. Had 96 against the Cowboys. Has 44 carries in the 2 playoff games combined. Had 85 and 91 in both games against the Rams this season. 5 of his last 7, he's gone over 73 or more. He's gone for 85 or more this season 8 times, and 100 or more 5. Elijah Mitchell over 72.5.
All right, Harry. So you're going San Francisco, Cincinnati, right? I'm trying to figure this out, right? So that's and they say that was the highest rated Super Bowl of all time. Did we discuss this? That first San Francisco, Cincinnati, Brian, you might not even been born. That first one, 81, or was it probably January 82? Which is weird, Parlay Kid, right? Because I talked about this with Simmons. Montana wasn't even really Montana then. I mean, obviously it was good, but he was going to be on his way to greatness.
Kenny Anderson.
People tuned in to see Kenny Anderson and
one of the worst helmets of all time.
And Pete Johnson. Like, I don't know. I think we figured it out though. It was the year before cable, right? It was a year not before. I mean, cable TV existed, but I kind of think that's probably when everybody got it, right? Around 82, 83. That had to be why. There was bigger draws than that over the years, right?
Man, Harry, they just had the C on their helmet. Is that what Cincinnati had at that time?
Is that what it was?
Didn't it say it spelled out Bengals?
Did it say that? Yeah, maybe you're
right.
Was
it that back then?
Darren, wasn't the game before the AFC Championship was against the Chargers when it was freezing, right?
Yeah, that was a freezing cold game.
That was that really cold game.
All right, now I'm lost. I don't know who hasn't gone yet.
Well, I still have another one here, Sal. I have
go ahead. Everybody's got one.
Odell, anytime touchdown at plus 135. Odell has been, pretty magnificent addition to the Rams. And he's been a touchdown threat. 6 touchdowns here. He's been always a threat by the goal line. A Cup will draw the attention. Odell gets one. Odell, anytime touchdown, plus 135.
Yeah, I know. Spaghetti loves. Go ahead, Spaghetti. I know you hate. All the Giants fans hate this when we make fun of Eli. We say he's playing mediocre. We're comparing him to Jimmy G. Go ahead.
No, I just sticker from my guy. Just the 4-game stretch in 2011, he was pretty damn good. He was good that season and next regular season too. That was the 11-1 year before Plaxico shot himself. So, but he was money then.
Yeah, but
Eddie,
you were very young.
Look.
There were a lot of underthrown passes that were caught, and so I don't expect you to remember.
That's not true. And by the way, Eddie, I think more than anything, Darren's ripping on Eli right now because I think Darren's realizing that Eli Manning's commercials are funnier than Tony Romo's.
Please, you're the same guy who wanted Manning
the
out
Doritos commercial. He's hilarious.
Eddie, he wanted.
Frank's red hot. He's
the Syracuse kid, Hasim, right?
Nassib. He was calling for him to start over Eli Manning. This is what. So don't listen.
A year before everybody else, too. Long before.
Listen, he never got a chance. Who knows what he could have done?
Eddie probably was too. Eddie, be honest, right? Everybody was.
Listen, Nassib should have beat Lawrence 3 years ago. Should have beat Lawrence in the game against Clemson.
The hell does that have to do with anything?
Eli was
Trevor Lawrence.
he was the most frustrating quarterback to root for because he would have stretches of mediocrity, and then he'd have a couple of games where he'd bring the team back from like a 2-minute drive. And you're like, all right, that's why I like him. And like I said, that stretch, his 2-year stretch in 2011, 2012, he was as good as you could really be. And unfortunately, the Plaxico incident kind of ruined that from a back-to-back Super Bowl chance.
That was it. He had 2 great playoff years. He really did. But Parlay Kid, we make fun of Eli. We make fun of Big Ben towards the end of their career. Was there anything more frustrating than rooting for Aikman the last year and a half with maybe even more? Really?
Yeah,
Dumb
but,
passes to Moose Johnston. Just he really could get anything going. That was the worst.
Never always where Aikman ranks for us, Sal. Aikman was good for the time, but he was not a probably I'm not sure if he was even a Hall of Famer, to be honest with you.
I gotta tell you,
not as good as Sims. Right.
I watched, when we were watching the Cowboys 49ers, I know we're getting off track here. And I was like, and Romo's calling the game. And I'm like, oh man, what if it could have been him? Now he's an older man. He's 41, almost 42. What if it was him out there? Would he have won the game? We start thinking these dumb things. And then, a Parlay Kid, I watched him watch Allen and Mahomes, and he was so excited. And he seemed so happy. And I'm like, I feel good for this guy. He's going to call the AFC Championship for the next 20 years. And he gets these great quarterbacks to watch and marvel over. And he doesn't have to get injured. So good for him. It's fine.
Hey, Dez is calling for him to be the Cowboys offensive coordinator. So
yeah,
maybe that will happen.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't really. I have a Beckham prop too here, over 50.5 yards. Even though I'm taking the 49ers here. Cup, I know, has gone over 100 the last 2 against the 49ers. I'm going to have to force a few to Beckham. He has 6.5 targets per game over the last 4, 69 yards, 54 yards in the last 2. They're going to have to throw to win. That's all I'm going to say about that. Beckham over 50.5. Bri, you got one more, right?
Yeah, and can somebody look up what the hell Harry was talking about? Did he say something about Nassib and Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, what are you talking about? This is years ago.
There was like a 10-year age difference.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
10.
Maybe I need to smoke today. I mean, I didn't smoke today.
I thought that sounded wrong. And I'm like, maybe we're thinking a different quarterback.
I was like, that must have been like.
He should have beat Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was 7 years old. Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Jimmy G under 228.5. Even though I like the 49ers to cover in this game, I think they'll be creative. They'll want to run the ball a lot. Jimmy G's averaging 150 yards passing per game in the playoffs. Actually, in his 5 playoff games in his career, he's never gone over 219 yards passing. And it took a huge ending in that last matchup. He had that big game the last time they played. He went over 300 yards, but that all came down to the end of the game for him, where he ended up going over there. I think they keep it simple. Especially if they take an early lead, they're gonna just keep running the ball. So I think he's gonna go under 228.5.
All right, there you go. Now, first touchdown picks. We're somewhere between 80 units and 77 units, somewhere there above. We're in the black. We made you money. Boy, did we get screwed on this last week, though, with the Rams, right?
So bad.
We were inside the 5. Who do we had? We had Akers, we had Higbee, we had Odell, and Cup. Those were our 4. And who got it?
Akers had just gotten down to
Blanton.
3.
Blanton. Yes.
The hell is that? 95 to 1
nuts.
though for Blanton. That's ridiculous.
Nuts.
Really crazy. And all right, here we go. I really feel gun shy here. I mean, this should be a good pick. And I'm taking him because he's due. George Kittle, 9 to 1. And it's been 6 games since he scored. But what a scare he would put into Rams early on, right? If he's wide open in the middle of the field. That's kind of how I see it. He has 10 catches on 14 targets last week. Red zone targets, 8. He's caught all of them, half for touchdowns. I think they get down early. I think he gets the first touchdown. 9 to 1 odds. Harry, you got a receiver there. Ball catcher, I should say, for the 49ers as well.
Yeah, went with the Bengals at 2 to 1. I'm going to go with wide receiver from the Niners, Juwan Jennings, at 35 to 1. Jennings, a couple years, Johnny Knoxville's probably a big fan of his. Led the Volunteers in touchdowns 2 years ago. He had 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns this season. Had a first touchdown of the game against the Eagles. But more importantly, he had his best game of the year in week 18 against the Rams. He had 6 catches on 7 targets, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game. Let's go Jennings at 35 to 1. I'm going to go with 2 long shots here.
Yeah, I mean, Harry he won a couple last week. He's like, I'm done. I don't need to win. It's all gravy here. I'll go Cincinnati 30 to 1 and Juwan Jennings 35. He's done. He's given up.
I took Cincinnati too. Last time I took a team on the defensive special teams that has orange in their uniform. I had the Dolphins in there. So that's why I'm going Cincinnati.
Listen,
That's what it is.
I apologize.
I gave
totally
out Jennings. I either gave out Jennings 2 weeks ago or last week, and you said who?
I
did?
No, it's Sal did.
Oh, that's right. I did. Yeah. Well, listen, I know who played Trevor Lawrence in the last 3 years. That's all I know. All right, Brother Bry, who do you like?
Yeah. So I was looking at this, and it's funny. I'm sticking with the quarterbacks here, these immobile quarterbacks. But I was looking at Stafford at 49 to 1. You know, he's scored in 2 straight games here in the playoffs with the rushing touchdown. And the funny thing is, like, again, this is one of those, like, if they get inside the 1, it seems like he's going to sneak the ball. That's just how their offense has been recently. I think he'll sneak it. But again, granted, they have to be on the 1 yard line or inside the 1. He probably is not going to get any other touchdown possible after that just because he doesn't run enough. But I do think inside the 1, QB sneak, you get 49 to 1, not bad.
Parlay Kid, you go with Higbee last week? You did, right?
Yeah, I go with Higbee often, Sal, but especially this week, his odds are a little, I think they were 13 to 1 last week. They're 11 to 1 now. That might be partially because in the 2 games against San Fran this year, Higbee does have 3 touchdowns against them. And if you've been watching closely the last 2 weeks, he's caught a ball in the open and has been tackled at the 5. Both times right before the first touchdown has been scored. He's close. He's getting closer and closer. He matches up pretty well with San Fran. I think, San Fran will do their best, I think, at times to really curtail Kupp and Beckham, which they won't be able to really. But which early in the game, it might leave Higbee some really good opportunities. So I'll take him at 11 to 1.